The story begins with a weary young woman who is deeply tired. She tends to her father, gingerly cooking porridge for him to eat, hoping it will bring him some relief. The father is heavily drunk, having been intoxicated since the previous day. Despite his condition, the daughter perseveres with care and concern, urging him to eat so he can recover. After preparing the meal, she gently insists that he sit down to eat and reassures him that she will ask for permission to go to work. Her resolve to go to work carefully shows the weight of responsibility she carries despite her exhaustion. The narrative reveals a troubled family background. The father has a habit of drinking with friends, and this leads to violence when he drinks excessively. One night of drunkenness results in the father losing control and beating his wife. This behavior creates a rift, pushing both mother and child to leave the household, escaping the turmoil. The daughter expresses uncertainty about whether the mother will forgive the father, but it's clear that the damage has been done, with the family fractured and left in despair. Meanwhile, the story shifts briefly to a subplot involving an undercover investigation. A character named James communicates cautiously with a man named Brother Lee about infiltrating a network related to a figure named John. This thread suggests an undercurrent of danger and secrecy, adding tension to the girl's routine life. The mention of preparing and delivering goods hints at illicit activities requiring vigilance and careful planning. A chase scene intensifies the atmosphere as someone is chased but stops at a perilous abyss, where a fall would surely be fatal. Returning to the girl's immediate concerns, she is offered work by a family needing help to cut bamboo shoots. She accepts the job, guided to the bamboo hill where she is expected to harvest a full bag for payment. The hard labor contrasts sharply with the earlier scenes of family drama. In leaving her current surroundings, she bids farewell to her mother, carrying a sense of sadness and responsibility. Interactions with neighbors reveal more about the daughter's troubled family life. The mother is resting, recovering from a loud quarrel with the father, prompted by his drunken and abusive behavior. The mother's fiery temper has led her to leave, adding to the tension within the household. The daughter expresses a desire for reconciliation, wishing to take her mother and child home despite the ongoing conflict. Appeals are made for understanding, highlighting the delicate balance between addressing domestic strife and maintaining family bonds. An attempt is made to soothe the mother, coaxing her to return home even though the atmosphere remains strained and weary. The daughter acknowledges the husband's flaws, his drinking and frequent troublemaking, and pleads on his behalf, asking for forgiveness and urging peace. Promises of change are made by the father, swearing to quit drinking and stop the violence. He vows to treat his family better and to respect the way his wife chooses to raise their children. The daughter listens intently as he pledges love and a renewed commitment to the family. His words carry weight as he emphasizes the importance of mutual love and care, recognizing the wife's hard work and assuring her he will no longer bring harm. Despite these promises, the tension from the father's drunken episodes looms large. The daughter and her family face a precarious balance between hope for change and the harsh realities of their difficult life. As the story unfolds, the father's determination to mend his ways is complicated by the challenges of their environment. The daughter remains caught between protecting her family and enduring the hardships that come with it. The family situation spirals deeper into complexity, woven tightly with strains that mirror countless real-life struggles of households shadowed by addiction, violence, and fractured relationships. At the heart of the story is a young woman's relentless perseverance weaving through this turmoil, balancing tender care, pragmatic survival, and hope for a better future. The father's drinking casts a shadow over the household. His addiction isn't merely a personal failing, it manifests as a destructive force that disrupts the fragile fabric of family life. The nights he spends intoxicated erode trust and safety, breeding a climate of fear and uncertainty for those closest to him. The father's violence towards his wife is both a symptom and catalyst of deeper dysfunction, reflecting frustrated anger and a failure to navigate emotional pain healthily. For the wife, each act of abuse represents a traumatic blow, fracturing the sense of belonging and security a home is supposed to provide. In this environment, the child's and young woman's departures mark attempts to escape harm, but also the profound cost of fractured familial bonds. The daughter shoulders significant burdens that would overwhelm many. Despite her youth and fatigue, she assumes the dual roles of caretaker and breadwinner. Her mornings are a delicate choreography, quietly waking her father to eat, preparing meals with care, shielding him from further harm while urging him to steady himself for the day. This labor of love is tinged with exhaustion and a latent fear. Caring for someone trapped in addiction involves navigating unpredictability, days of promise overshadowed by nights of despair. Her attentiveness to her father's needs reveals profound resilience, but also highlights the isolating loneliness of such a role. Beyond the immediate household, the story touches on the daughter's encounters with the outside world where her struggle continues in different shapes. The job offer to cut bamboo shoots is emblematic of her hard life, physically demanding work that promises little but is necessary for survival. It symbolizes the burdens borne silently by many who toil in rural or underprivileged settings to support family, often carrying hopes of upward movement despite daunting odds. This labor also offers a brief respite, a chance to assert some agency amid the chaos of her home. Meanwhile, underlying mysteries hint at an intricate network of danger and risk beyond daily survival. The subplot involving an undercover investigation into criminal activity intensifies the narrative atmosphere. This element introduces a layer of suspense and complexity, with danger lurking not just in familial discord but in the external world. The daughter's chance encounter with a seriously injured officer seems fated, weaving her story into broader currents of peril and potential redemption. The family's interpersonal conflicts are multifaceted and deeply human. The mother's sharp temper, fueled by years of hardship and betrayal, clashes with the father's erratic behavior, setting a volatile tone to interactions. Arguments erupt, sharp words exchanged, and tempers flare, yet beneath the surface lies a fragile desire for stability and reconciliation. The daughter becomes a reluctant mediator, seeking to heal rifts even as she grapples with her own emotional wounds. Her calls for understanding reflect the universal quest for peace amidst adversity. Promises made amid conflict carry the weight of desperation and hope. The father's vows to quit drinking and stop violence embody the tension between stated intentions and lived reality familiar to many in families affected by addiction. His pleas for forgiveness, declarations of love, and commitments to change are both touching and tragic, illustrating the cyclical nature of such struggles, where love coexists uneasily with pain. The daughter's conflicted feelings, torn between longing for family unity and protecting herself and the child, highlight the emotional complexity of living amid these contradictions. The presence of extended family, such as the grandmother, adds further texture. Her role as a potential guardian or anchor introduces questions about intergenerational support and the limits of familial duty. Her concerns and decisions influence the dynamics within the household, illustrating how family crises ripple outward. The daughter seeking her grandmother's permission to take her siblings underscores both respect for tradition and the precariousness of their situation. The physical environment mirrors the emotional landscape. The deep abyss where a chase halts symbolizes danger and the precarious edge on which the family's fate balances. The bamboo forests and hills not only provide a livelihood but also stand as a backdrop to resilience and survival amid hardship. The forest's medicinal plants, used desperately to tend to the wounded officer, evoke themes of healing and hope amidst decay. Throughout the unfolding events, the daughter's inner world is shaped by weariness and determination. She navigates pain, disappointment, and the weight of responsibility with quiet strength. Her willingness to act, whether caring for the injured officer or harvesting bamboo, signals a spirit unwilling to surrender despite the heaviness pressing upon her. Her story resonates as one of those often overlooked, encapsulating the countless struggles of those who live in the margins yet continue to strive. In summary, this phase of the story dives deeply into the harsh realities of familial addiction, violence, and poverty, while also exploring resilience, hope, and the complexities of love within fractured relationships. It captures the painful interplay of despair and perseverance, painting a vivid portrait of human endurance tethered to frail but enduring familial bonds. The daughter's path through her family's turbulent life is marked not only by immediate struggles but also by echoes of a deep cultural history. In Vietnamese literature, the theme of family is one that resonates profoundly. Families are seen as both the source of life's greatest joys and its most painful trials. This tradition of storytelling reveals how familial bonds, though sometimes strained and tragic, form the foundation of identity and hope. Within the home, the daughter's daily existence is a testament to the weight of responsibility thrust upon her at a young age. Her role transcends typical siblingship. She is simultaneously a caregiver and a protector, forced to step into the shoes of a parent when those roles falter due to her father's addiction and violence. The strain inflicted by the father's drinking creates an undercurrent of instability that challenges the family's cohesion at every turn. The father, often seen in the narrative as a man trapped by his own demons, represents the complex intersection of love and pain, a figure simultaneously feared and pitied. The mother's absence from the household springs from unbearable circumstances. Her decision to leave is not an act of abandonment but a desperate bid for safety and self-preservation. The wife's fiery temperament, described as hot-tempered due to the relentless hardship she endures, reflects the psychological toll of living amid abuse and uncertainty. Her leaving, though painful for the family, underscores the impossibility of sustaining love in the face of repeated violence. Her departure also amplifies the daughter's isolation, leaving her as the sole anchor in a home fragmented by addiction and conflict. The daughter's relationship with neighbors and extended family provides occasional glimpses of normalcy and support. These interactions illustrate the communal nature of traditional Vietnamese society, where kinship extends beyond the nuclear family and where neighbors and elders play roles in mediating and aiding troubled households. The grandmother's presence in the story is particularly significant. As a matriarch, she embodies the values of care, respect, and endurance, acting as a stabilizing force amid chaos. The daughter seeking permission from her grandmother before making decisions about the siblings illustrates the respect for elders prevalent in Vietnamese culture and highlights how family duties cascade through generations. The father's sporadic promises to abandon alcohol and violence reveal a common pattern in families grappling with addiction. These pledges are moments of hope but are shadowed by past disappointments, and their repetition without lasting change deepens the family's sorrow. His declarations of love and attempts at reconciliation are heartfelt yet tinged with the tragic irony that intentions alone cannot undo years of harm. The daughter's cautious listening to these vows reflects a blend of yearning and skepticism shaped by lived experience. The vivid portrayal of work life, particularly the laborious task of harvesting bamboo shoots, accentuates the harsh realities faced by rural families with limited economic resources. Such work symbolizes not only physical toil but also the relentless need to provide for loved ones in contexts where opportunities are scarce. The daughter's acceptance of this labor is at once an act of survival and a poignant reminder of the sacrifices demanded of young people in difficult circumstances. In wider Vietnamese literature, stories often explore how family members, especially women, are both shields and sufferers, shouldering burdens with stoic endurance. This narrative aligns with that tradition, depicting the daughter as a figure of quiet strength amid suffering, embodying the virtues celebrated in cultural tales: resilience, filial piety, and unwavering love despite adversity. The subplot involving the injured officer introduces a compelling contrast to the family's internal struggles. This external crisis becomes a moment of unexpected connection, where the daughter's compassion and courage extend beyond her immediate family. The act of caring for the officer amid the wilderness becomes a metaphor for hope, the possibility of saving and being saved, of finding humanity amidst hardship. Her knowledge of medicinal plants and the care she takes in tending to his wounds emphasize resourcefulness and a deep connection to nature, traits honored in Vietnamese cultural narratives. Throughout, the story deeply explores psychological and emotional layers. The daughter's inner life is a mosaic of hope, grief, love, frustration, and determination. Her experiences mirror broader themes in Vietnamese family stories: the tension between duty and self-preservation, the pain of broken promises, and the enduring quest for peace and stability. The family's struggles, though specific in detail, resonate universally as they encapsulate the fragility and strength of familial love. This phase of the story thus not only continues the narrative but enriches it with cultural resonance and literary echoes, illustrating how personal suffering intersects with collective memory and tradition. The daughter's journey is not only about survival but also about embodying values and hopes passed down through generations, illuminating the enduring power of family even in its most difficult moments. As the seasons turn, the turmoil within the family deepens, reflecting not only individual fractures but the mounting weight of societal and economic pressures that have long shaped families like theirs. The daughter, still unwavering in her daily duties, finds herself enmeshed in a complex web of emotions and responsibilities that expand beyond the confines of her home. She carries the heavy legacy of a household scarred by alcohol, violence, and fractured trust, and yet, within her, a quiet reservoir of hope persists. The father remains a man imprisoned by his addiction. His moments of lucidity, when he swears off alcohol and promises to change, collide violently with relapses that plunge the family into chaos all over again. His behavior illustrates the crippling grip of addiction, where the struggle between desire to overcome and the compulsive need to consume creates a cycle of broken promises and shattered bonds. His violent outbursts are not merely physical but emotional assaults upon the very fabric of the family's unity. Each time he raises a hand, he not only injures his wife and children but deeply wounds the fragile trust that binds them. The mother's departure exploded the fragile equilibrium. For her, leaving was a desperate effort to protect her children and herself from ongoing harm, a painful but necessary severance from the man she once loved. Her absence leaves the daughter as the de facto head of the household, tasked with navigating the chasms between family members and society's judgment. The mother's strength is evident in her decision to seek safety, but also in her continued concern for her children's well-being, even from a distance. This absence, bittersweet and complicated, adds layers of loneliness and hardship to the daughter's burden. Life for the daughter is dominated by hard labor and unyielding duty. The manual work of harvesting bamboo shoots is emblematic of her struggle. The physical toll mirrors the emotional weight she carries daily. In the bamboo forests, she finds a place of both refuge and relentless effort, where the sweat of her brow represents a tireless endeavor to sustain her fractured family. The work symbolizes survival, underscored by a painful reality shared by many in rural communities faced with poverty and limited opportunities. Her relationships extend into the community, where societal expectations and collective morality often weigh heavily on individuals. Neighbors observe, comment, and occasionally intervene in the family's affairs, reflecting traditional communal bonds that intertwine personal troubles with social concern. The grandmother's role as custodian of familial values is critical here. She functions as a mediator, a source of wisdom, and a symbol of continuity, balancing discipline with love and providing guidance as the family navigates their crisis. The daughter's respect for her grandmother reflects a Vietnamese cultural hallmark that venerates elders as pillars of the family structure. Among the most striking elements of this phase of the daughter's journey is her encounter with the injured officer. This event, dramatic and unexpected, introduces a profound sense of interconnection and humanity beyond her own family struggles. Tending to the wounded officer amidst the solitude of the forest, she demonstrates compassion and resourcefulness. Her knowledge of medicinal plants and her careful, constant attention in the face of danger reflect a blending of traditional wisdom and raw courage. This incident broadens the narrative canvas, hinting at redemption and new possibilities through acts of kindness and bravery. Psychologically, the daughter's inner world is shaped by conflicting desires, the need for peace and love, the fear of disappointment, and the longing for a stable family. Her emotions oscillate between hope and despair, strength and exhaustion. The complex emotional landscape reflects the nuanced portrait of youth forced prematurely into adulthood, where innocence is shadowed by survival, and dreams must coexist with harsh realities. This narrative phase meticulously explores the interplay of cultural expectations, personal resilience, and social realities. The broader Vietnamese familial theme emphasized here revolves around sacrifice, respect for tradition, and unbreakable, though sometimes painful, family ties. The daughter embodies the virtues extolled in much Vietnamese literature and folklore: endurance, filial piety, and unwavering loyalty. Financial strain serves as a silent but powerful antagonist, exacerbating tensions and limiting the family's ability to heal. The father's selling of the buffalo to buy a phone, though seeming trivial, symbolizes the desperate economic decisions the family must make. It illustrates how poverty compels sacrifice and reshapes priorities, where even small luxuries are weighed against survival. Economic hardship intensifies emotional fractures, fueling both conflict and the daughter's determination to provide. Social stigma and the family's fragmented reputation within the community add another layer of complexity. The father's drunken violence and the mother's departure both invite judgment and gossip, underscoring how families in crisis often face compounded struggles, internal pain amplified by external scrutiny. The daughter must navigate these societal perceptions while maintaining her dignity and protecting her younger siblings. The tension between tradition and modernity quietly surfaces as well. The daughter's respect for familial hierarchy and customs contrasts with her pragmatic engagement with labor and social issues, reflecting the evolving role of women in contemporary Vietnamese society. Her story highlights how traditional values interact with real-life exigencies, creating a dynamic and sometimes contradictory path through cultural identity. Sense of hope threads persistently through the narrative, despite pain. Promise glimmers. The daughter's care for the injured officer hints at the possibility of new relationships and futures forged through courage and kindness. Her ability to act decisively, even amid severe hardship, reflects a human spirit resistant to despair. Ultimately, this portion of the story intricately dissects the web of love, pain, duty, and survival that defines fractured families in challenging socio-economic contexts. It captures the resilience of the human heart bound by family, and the courage it takes to endure, adapt, and hope amid relentless adversity. Her struggle to hold the family together becomes a profound testament to human endurance. Each day brings new trials. Her father's continued bouts with alcohol test the limits of her patience and love. Despite broken promises, there are fleeting moments of lucidity where he shows glimpses of the man he once was or might become. These moments offer bittersweet relief but also weigh heavily, reminding her of the fragile line between hope and despair. The cycle of violence leaves scars not only on the skin but deeply within the psyche of each family member, complicating the possibility of reconciliation. The mother's absence remains both a wound and a shield. Her departure was an act of survival, but it leaves a void impossible to fill. The daughter grapples with feelings of abandonment yet understands the necessity that forced her mother away. This duality deepens the emotional complexity of their relationship, highlighting the tension between loyalty and self-preservation that she must navigate daily. Her role as caregiver extends beyond immediate family into the wider community. The bamboo forests where she toils bring a sense of both hardship and grounding. The work is grueling, yet through the sweat and strain emerges a profound connection to the land, an ancient source of sustenance and stability. Within this natural setting, moments of peace punctuate a life otherwise marked by turmoil. Her careful harvesting reflects a rhythm of resilience and hope, even as economic realities bite hard. The story's tension escalates with the encounter involving the injured officer. His rescue becomes a powerful metaphor for salvation and redemption, mirroring the daughter's own yearning to heal brokenness within her family. Her nurturing presence at the forest's edge is a quiet assertion of agency and compassion amid chaos. Her knowledge of nature's gifts, the medicinal plants she gathers with painstaking care, symbolizes a deep connection to tradition and survival instinct. This relationship hints at new possibilities, connections forged through kindness that transcend the scars of the past. The domestic conflicts extend beyond physical altercations into the spiritual and psychological realms. The weight of unspoken anger, pain, and unfulfilled dreams roots itself within the family's collective memory. The daughter continually mediates, her internal struggle playing out in silent moments between confrontations. Her capacity to forgive and hope, despite betrayals, reveals an emotional strength that belies her youth. Every small victory, be it a day without fight, a promise kept, or a moment of shared laughter, takes on immense significance. Economic struggles form a persistent backdrop, shaping decisions and futures. The selling of family possessions to afford a phone may appear trivial, yet it encapsulates desperate efforts to maintain dignity and connection in a world that often seems indifferent. Financial insecurity intensifies emotional strain, forcing painful choices that underscore the precariousness of their existence. The community's gaze is both a source of support and judgment. Gossip and whispered opinions magnify the family's struggles, making private pain a public spectacle. This reflects broader social realities where families in distress often face stigma, compounding feelings of isolation. The daughter's navigation through these social dynamics is another battlefront, requiring courage to maintain her family's dignity under strain. Cultural values regarding family, filial piety, and respect play a complex role. The daughter's obedience to her grandmother and adherence to tradition provide structure and strength but also impose weighty expectations. Balancing these demands with her own needs and desires creates inner conflict, yet she navigates these tensions with determination. As the story reaches its climax, moments of transformation emerge. Dialogue, reconciliation attempts, and shared vulnerability slowly chip away at the barriers erected by pain and fear. The story does not shy away from harsh realities but offers nuanced glimpses of healing and possibility. It acknowledges the slow, often incomplete process of recovery in families battered by addiction and abuse. The final scenes encapsulate a mixture of endings and beginnings. The injured officer's survival offers a symbolic beacon of hope, while the daughter's steadfastness hints at future resilience. Family members tentatively forge new understandings, acknowledging past wounds while seeking paths forward. The grandmother's steady presence remains an anchor, embodying endurance and wisdom. In closing, this story is an intimate exploration of brokenness and redemption. It portrays the deep complexities of family, where love coexists with pain and hope intertwines with despair. The daughter's journey embodies the strength found in vulnerability and the persistence of the human spirit amid suffering. This powerful narrative leaves the reader with a vivid reflection on the nature of familial bonds, the challenges of overcoming addiction and violence, and the enduring capacity for forgiveness and renewal. It honors the silent sacrifices of those who carry the weight of family struggles and celebrates the quiet courage required to keep hope alive.